everybody, my name is Tanya and welcome back for another installment of On My Shelf. So these are going to be the last coordinates that I've currently got from the video that I put out a little while ago asking for coordinates to look at my bookshelves. If anybody does still want to see more of it, feel free to give me some more coordinates and I might do some more videos. I am planning on doing a bookshelf tour of the shelves in here eventually, once I finish rearranging them and everybody has a little bit of break from the bookshelf tour that I did for my front bookshelves. But I've got another 7 coordinates to go through now, so let's get into it. As always, On My Shelf was created by Ian from Ian Broom, and there will be links to him down in the description. The first coordinate comes from Midwinter Nightingale, and it is for shelf 24, book 18. So shelf 24 is my bottom of my shelf over that away, so let's see what's in there. This is The First 4 Years by Laura Ingalls Wilder. So this is the last book in her Little House series of books that she put out for kids of her life growing up kind of in pioneer times. I loved these as a child. This is something that I have had read to me or I've read myself many times. In the past we got them out from the library when I was a child many times, but we now own our own copies and we got these beautiful ones that are illustrated by Garth Williams, and they've got colour photos throughout which make it just wonderful. Laura was one of the main staples of my childhood in my reading, and as I said, reading to me. I don't know how many times Mum would have read these ones to me as a child and how many times I picked them up since. It's got to be quite a few. I just love them. Very recently, an kind of unabridged autobiography that Laura originally had written has been published, kind of her original text telling the more grittier story of her life. Which didn't get published at the time, nobody was interested in. They instead wanted these kind of more watered down versions for children, which are very beloved, but I'm very interested to read kind of her original story and to see what life was really like out on the prairie for her. And so I do own that one, but just haven't got to reading that yet, as with a lot of things. The next coordinate is from Horseshoe 28, and it is shelf 11, book 25. Now there weren't 25 books on shelf 11, so this has become shelf 12, book 7. And that is The Complete Fairy Tales of Hans Christian Andersen. So Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales are obviously something that we all have a familiarity with and have heard in various forms. I'm sure most of us have some knowledge of Hans Christian Andersen, but I've not sat down and read everything, or even a lot probably. When Oma had a different collection that she would read from us, but whether they were kind of the original ones or whether they were different watered down stories, I don't know. So this is something that I've got and hope to get through at some point. Both this and the Brothers Grimm are really interested to go back and actually read everything of, because again, I know that there are a lot of things, a lot of stories that I know, and a lot of kind of Disney adaptations or different adaptations of those stories that are very different to the original, and so I would like to go back and read the originals. So this is the reason I've got this one. I've got this one and also a complete Brothers Grimm collection, and hopefully I can start shipping through some of these soon. The next coordinate is from Brock from Let's Read, and he has chosen shelf 1, book 1, because he says nobody ever chooses 1-1. And I laughed because I've stacked these shelves so randomly. I've just kind of pulled stuff out of boxes and plonked them on random places on these shelves. There's no real order to anything. So when he posted that, I couldn't actually remember what was at 1-1. So I've managed to avoid looking at it for most of the time. I do actually know what's on there now. I did spot it. But I tried to keep myself in the dark. But I had to laugh that that's kind of the basic thing of you don't know what's at 1-1 on your shelf, but this is shelf 1 up over here and you won't be able to tell what it is. So 1-1 is The Tiny Bit Marvellous by Dawn French. Now the reason I bought this one is I grew up watching a lot of British television because of my father. So he loved a lot of the old British comedies, and The Vicar of Dibley starring Dawn French of course isn't quite such an old one, it is more a modern British show, but things like that and Keeping Up Appearances, and then older things like Open All Hours, or Some Others Do Have Them, all that kind of stuff I grew up watching because of Dad. And so Dawn French is close to my heart because of The Vicar of Dibley. I'm watching that because of him. So when she put out a novel, I was definitely interested to read it. I haven't read this yet. I don't know when I'll read it, but I do really enjoy her humour, and I'm interested to get to this at some point. And it has been a very long time since I've seen The Vicar of Dibley. Then right after Brock's coordinate of 1-1, I got one from Bailey Walsh, and that is for shelf 24 and the last book on the shelf. So we've gone from right up to the top to the last thing down this way, so let's go grab that one. And so this is a very old, very beat up copy of Mulga Bill's Bicycle by Amy Patterson and Banjo Patterson, and this is something else that was huge in my childhood. So Mulga Bill's Bicycle is a poem by Banjo Patterson, a famous, very, very famous Australian poet, and this, I feel like I could almost recite. I know my mother pretty much can recite most of it. She read this to me so many times as a child. It's just such an Australian classic, and I think it's so funny that it came up for this, because I'm so pleased to show it off to you. So you can see that it is a precious old thing. The cover's almost gone, it's bent, and well loved. So this is the story of Mulga Bill, who decides he's going to get a penny farthing bicycle and trade in his good old horse that served him many days. And when he gets the bicycle, maybe he got a little bit more than he had bargained for, and it is hilarious. It's iconic Australian, and it's just wonderful. So definitely look up Mulga Bill's Bicycle to get the full poem. I'm not going to read it out now, but it's just fantastic, and the illustrations in this one are equal parts amazing and horrific. And so let's have a bit more of a look. But the page that I really want to show you is this next one. So he's kind of going out of control on the way to the creek, and then we have this gem. I think that's absolutely horrific for a child, and I thought it was the best thing ever. And if that face wasn't enough to give kids nightmares, I don't know what is. So this is an absolute precious copy that I will never be getting rid of. The next coordinate is from Victoria Harris, and it is shelf 12, book 3. And then it's House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. Now this is something that I've heard a lot about, both good and bad. It's on the 1,000 Books You Must Read Before You Die. It looks absolutely crazy. I've heard that it's terrifying. I've heard that it's amazing. I've heard that it's horrible. I'm really interested to see where in all of that I fall. And I purchased this one after I got Nimmy in BookTube Secret Santa last year, and she had this on her wish list. And I ended up sending her this one for BookTube Secret Santa, and I purchased this one thinking that maybe we could read it together and hold each other's hands because it's supposedly so horrifying. That hasn't happened quite yet, and that's absolutely fine. Things have been busy for both of us. But Nimmy, if you're watching and you do feel like reading it anytime soon, let me know and I'll brace myself. But it's something that I'm really glad to have sitting on my shelf for the day that I am ready to tackle it. The next coordinate's from Ness, from Wonder Ness, and that is shelf 8, book 3. And that is Acceptance by Jeff Vandermeer, which is the third book in the Southern Reach trilogy. I read the first book a few months ago now, and I haven't got back to read books 2 and 3 just yet. I'm really hoping to go to it. I enjoyed the first one. It was very weird, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I definitely think there's a lot left unexplained that I probably should be reading 2 and 3 right now to find out about. I really enjoyed it, but quite perplexed about some things, so I bought this one after I heard about it on BookTube. It was getting some good hype, and I thought the premise sounded really interesting, and when I saw these covers I couldn't not, because these covers are just stunning. I haven't read the blurb of this one because I don't want to spoil anything that comes before, but basically the premise of this trilogy is a mysterious place called Area X, and an expedition that goes to explore Area X, and all past expeditions something horrible has happened. So if that doesn't make you interested, I don't know what will. And the last coordinate is from Catherine Cogman, and that is shelf 15, book 8. And that is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter S. Thompson. I can't remember, I think I read the book before seeing the movie. I'm pretty sure I read the book first, but I have also seen the movie of this one. This one I would have purchased because it's on the 1,000 Books You Must Read Before You Die list, and, you know, famous for other reasons as well. I really enjoyed this actually. It's basically just kind of one huge trip, based on Hunter S. Thompson's actual life, which doesn't necessarily sound all that appealing. I think my Goodreads review says it best, which is basically 2 words: disturbing and hilarious. Drug culture is definitely not anything that I am at all involved in or interested in, but this is funny. So that wraps up this installment on my shelf and this little glimpse into my new bookshelves here. I'm really pleased that I've got all these books out of storage now. I have ready access to them and I can, get them for reading and for tags and to show you guys. So I hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into what I've got. You'll be realising that I am an incredibly eclectic reader and collector, and my shelves make no sense at all. As always, if you have any questions about anything that I've shown today or anything that you can see in the background, do let me know. As always, thank you all for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!